Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent. I'm sorry if I sound weird, I just woke up. Also, I definitely need some soundproofing pads in this room. Oh, fun fact, by the way, guys, soundproofing pads don't really diminish the sound that escapes your room. It kind of stops the echo. So yeah, that's really what they're there for. I'm just saying, I need some of those. So yeah, eyeballs on the Patreon. I don't know, maybe bit me on whenever I'm streaming, twitch.tv/Skylent. I play a lot of online games. That's what we're kind of ranting about today. And hot off the heels, actually, we were just talking about how there's no great MMO. Well, I kind of just woke up because I had this feeling in my heart, how to get it out. I wanted to rant about why I haven't really covered MMOs and why mostly it's been kind of light affairs or rant videos. I used to do a lot of top 10s, and I used to specifically do like full reviews. I did a few. My biggest one was probably Black Desert Online. And, I used to do like big chunky videos, lots of like episodic little reviews. I just used to cover MMOs like so much, and tons of first looks, right? And I have been doing first looks, but not really on MMOs. And that's why I'm coming at you from this perspective as a content creator, as somebody who makes money from these videos, as somebody who can be sponsored. I literally get donated to play a lot of these games. I'm paid to play a lot of these games, and it's so fun. Generally, I think, just the vibe and the atmosphere, the community, the love of online games, it's in my heart and soul, and that's obviously my bias. But like, from that bias, okay, from this perspective of I should be someone who fucking loves and is very, I'm very influenced to play these games, because it's my career. It's my job, right? I shouldn't be complaining that I have to download these games and play these games and try them out for like, what, an hour? Make $100 or something, get a bunch of subscribers, a bunch of views, get to play with the friends and family. It won't be a horrible time, will it? But actually, I'm here to say it kind of is sometimes. Installing MMOs is like the most fucking hassling thing on the planet. I really don't enjoy it. I mean, there's actually been some times, right, where I'm told, hey, we're gonna give you $200. Just play our game. You just give us a 15-minute first look video. And that's it, guys. I literally would only have had to play the game for like 15, maybe 30 minutes. And I start the installer. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll play the game. Why not? I start the installer, and I literally rage quit at the installer. How many times has this happened? More than I can count on my hands. This has happened a lot, and this is for specifically sponsorships. Now imagine how many times it's happened to me just because I wanted to try a game on a whim. And I'm somebody, one more time, for like the third or fifth 5 million time, I should be okay with the hassle of installing MMOs because I would be getting paid. It's work, it's a job. Guys, I work a $21 an hour job. So why am I complaining about making $100, for an hour? Because it's not even just a time sink. It's grating. It's degrading because it makes you feel stupid. When you actually get into the game, you download the game, is it even gonna run great? Is your, all the systems you gotta change around? Like, there's so much that I can talk about for the starter experience, the literal starting and launching of the game, that I can make a fucking rant video. So that's what this is. So yeah, the first thing that I gotta talk about, oh my god, has anybody tried to install Final Fantasy 11? So recently they did they had an update, or I guess, they announced it, that they were going to try to reconfigure the launcher experience, reconfigure the install experience for Final Fantasy 11. And I'm thinking like, holy fuck, that's like 8 years too late. But yeah, man, I rage quit that game like 4 times, like over 4 different years, because I could not handle that installer. Like, that is ridiculous. Oh my god. But there's so many MMO. I think most MMO where just installing the individual game is just boring. Now, luckily there are some that launch on Steam, like BDO and etc. But still, when you download a lot of these games on Steam, not even MMO, but just like Warframe, for an example, or Path of Exile, I think a lot of them, you have to actually, it just kind of downloads the launcher, and then you have to launch the game, and it's not really upkept by Steam, and so then you gotta have these huge downloads. The launcher, especially for Asian games, they don't seem to download very quickly. The launcher experience, and then, oh my god, the creating accounts for each individual goddamn game. Oh my god. Again, I get paid freaking bank, okay? I get paid money to do this kind of thing. And I'm just like, nah, you know what? Keep your money. I don't care. keep your subscribers, keep your Patreon donations, keep your sponsorships, everything. I don't care. I just don't want to do this. And I can't even imagine what it's like for a lot of you guys. So I try to preach, I do a lot of top 10s, and I'm like, oh my God, you guys should definitely check out this game. You should check out this game. You should try this game. And, for the most part, like, if you can get past a lot of the awkwardness of the early game of these games, there is something unique there, right? There's something kind of special in a lot of these games. And technically they do belong in top list videos. But like, even a lot of games where I put them in top list videos, you don't see me continuing to play those games on the channel, at least. You don't see me doing videos on them. And like, if I've uninstalled a game and there was like a big update for this new game, whatever, people are like, oh, go back, do a new first look, for 2019. I'm just like, nah, bruh. Because I just don't want to deal with it. Making a new account, installing the game, how long that takes. And again, it's not just a time thing. Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper into this, because we got 4 more minutes. Gotta hit the 10-minute mark, baby. Gotta get that Happy Meal. So, one thing that I really hate about these games is always, every time, gosh dang, even if a game is generally meant for a more hardcore audience, the starter experience for MMOs is garbage, and I think I've done a couple of rants on that already, but I'm talking about the literal, you literally launch the game, you're gonna have some issues, because every MMO, swear to God, is just like poop when it comes to optimization. Again, kind of going back to our last rant, how no MMO is really AAA. It's like, especially when they first launch or there's a big new update, it's like, God, they just run like poop, so you have to go through the settings, which is, there's a ton of them, because MMOs are big games, there's a lot going on. You got to cull off player count, cull off, player details, shadows, turn off on. You got to find the right settings. And you generally will do this for a lot of PC games, but AAA PC games kind of make it a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. You kind of can play the game and get eased into it a little bit quicker. But an MMO, like, then past, just being able to run the game and properly function, oh, well, you got to actually control the functions, the macros, the micro keys. You got to actually hotkey things appropriately, because they're almost never actually done right. Looking at you, goddamn World of Warcraft. And it even gets to a point where some MMO, like, if they allow for a controller, which I'm going to say stuff like Final Fantasy 14, actually. Honestly, like, I just play with a controller. Like, I just don't want to deal with it, because a lot of MMOs have you reaching your hand often all over the keyboard. Where, I play a lot of different genre games. I play guitar as well. I play, keyboard, and I do a lot of different things with my hands, ladies. And I'm just saying that I think there's nothing more uncomfortable that I've ever done than play an MMO for a session. Play a game like, I don't know, like Black Desert, but especially World of Warcraft. Oh my God. Like, a lot of games are just, it's just the frequency, how often you're stretching, and at what angles. It's just, you can do it, but continuously doing it, especially daily, it's just not healthy. It's just not good. And so the very starter experience, you have to configure it, and then even after you configure it, you're still kind of learning the game. And oh my God, I know they start you off slow and steady, and it's really boring as hell. But even then, I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't feel good to play these games. It's just never, it is almost never fun to play these games out of the gate. You pick up Overwatch, you're having fun instantaneously. I would dare say even League of Legends, a game like that, which has a really long wind up to as a learning to play the game. Like, there's still a lot you can do, depending on the character you play, there's still a lot that you can do, actually, and it can feel pretty good for the type of game that it is. And sure, every game is different, and I am mostly talking about like 3D action-y MMO, games like World of Warcraft or Terror or Blade and Soul. I am kind of mainly talking about that because those are the most popular type of MMO, and it just, God, it just feels so bad physically playing the game. And then, kind of talking about physically, some people don't realize how physical this is, but your eyes, your perception, it is a video game, what you see. And I'm just going to end cap the video with this, but like, we all know it, so I don't need to elaborate on it. But basically, MMOs have like the worst fucking UI, generally the most noisy graphics, and then like combine all that with the fact that it is massively multiplayer, lots going on the screen at one time, generally fantasy games, a lot to keep out, look for. There's just a lot of noise on the screen that then is clouded and overlaid by like the worst user interface on the planets. Oh my God. And so that actually physically bombards your eyeballs. Like, it hurts you, it hurts your brain. And it's not just your thought. It's not just clouding, your decision-making process. It's not just making you uncomfortable. It can actually physically make you nauseous, which generally for me, that doesn't happen, but it does give me a physical sensation of like, I'm pained, I'm groaning, I'm achy, I'm physically not enjoying myself. Basically, MMOs are the most uncomfortable game to play generally, and more so just getting into them, starting them up, reading the UI, the user agreements that you got to sign through, signing up on just everything about starting an MMO, let alone the actual starter experience, which is generally garbage, but just getting the fuck into the game is, you know what? I get paid to do this shit, and I'm just like, no, it's impossible. Why? I could play so many different games. I could even start a freaking Bloodborne and have a more engaging and interesting and just easier, jumping point into the game than freaking an MMO. Even like some children MMO, man. Like some kids MMO, right? Like baby's first MMO. Shit like takes forever to jump into. You guys ever try to make an MMO like a Cartoon Network MMOs or like Toontown or something? Even then, it's still obviously no Call of Duty. It's still obviously, no Gears of War or Halo. You don't just jump into these games, but they're the genre that would benefit the most from being able to just jump into them. And I just think it's insane that there's this huge oversight. And I think, just lastly, I think it's because basically old people are making these games. And they're really just kind of more or less copy pasting, and they're building on a foundation that is at least a decade old. I'm not saying that every game's a clone of World of Warcraft, but the foundation of what made World of Warcraft, such as EverQuesty type of design, that stuff has perforated everything and hasn't really evolved. The closest thing to evolution was like 5-ish years ago. We had Guild Wars 2, which kind of blended a little bit more of an action RPG UI and a little bit more skill shots and things in the gameplay. And they did have a more engaging introduction, but even now they actually made it more of a grind. You get less skills as quickly. The game is a little bit easier to pass through, and they just kind of casualized a lot of weird stuff. And I don't know, like a lot of MMOs, it's just, what the fuck is even the direction? I don't think they're really making it for MMO players. And at the same time, I don't really think they're making it for players at all, because I think the developers, they kind of forgot what it meant to be a player, a just general gamer, period. They're kind of just making vehicles for cash shops at this point. That's really how I feel, because every game, it's like we just get this slapped on UI, we just get these slapped on mechanics. And if you want to watch my last rant, got a lot to say about that, but basically, yeah, man, it's just a bunch of games just slapped together. And you know what? We feel it. We literally physically feel it whenever we try. Just click on your ad. We can literally feel it. The clunkiness of making an account all the way through, launching the game, starting the game, and then even beyond, actually. But that's another rant for another time. So it just fucking sucks. That's it. Much love. See you in the next one.